What's up? Welcome back to the Too Tall Sports Podcast. Glad you guys could join me today. My 2 cents segment is going to be about the Baseball Hall of Fame. So last night they had their annual induction. Derek Jeter, Larry Walker, both were inducted among others. Both, of course, very deserving. But I want to talk about some other guys that are either on the fringe of making it in the Hall of Fame or definitely the locks that are still playing today. So let's talk about that. And of course, my interview kind of coincides with that. So I want to do some Hall of Fame talk. Josh Rawitch is my interview. He was a former media guy, media relations for the Dodgers and Diamondbacks. And now he's the president of the Baseball Hall of Fame. So huge honor for him. And he and I worked together a little bit when I was with the Diamondbacks. So I want to talk about some Hall of Fame stuff. So a couple guys that had some big milestones this year are Miguel Cabrera and Joey Votto, and also Yadier Molina. So I kind of want to talk about a few of those guys and what their chances are to make the Hall of Fame. Some of them you might think are easy, and some other guys also that are kind of fringe. But I did want to go over some of the locks that you probably already know of. One of them being Albert Pujols. Obviously, all the numbers. He might be the best right-handed hitter of all time. I did a video on this, making the case for Miguel Cabrera being one of the best right-handed hitters of all time. And he definitely is. I'll explain his stats in a little bit. Two big name pitchers, at least for sure right now, that will get in the Hall of Fame are Clayton Kershaw and Max Scherzer, both 3-time Cy Young winners, both have a World Series and both dominant for their era of pitching. So I think both Scherzer and Kershaw will get in. And because Kershaw had a iffy postseason, as most people like to point out, he finally got his World Series, pitched well during the World Series last year. So I think Clayton Kershaw is a no-doubter. Two other guys that I saw when I was looking up some articles on guys' chances to get in are Justin Verlander and Zach Greinke. Both might surprise you with some of the numbers they have. Both have over 200 wins, which is a big deal. And Verlander's got over 3,000 strikeouts, and Greinke's got over 2,600 strikeouts, which may surprise you because you don't think of him as a dominant strikeout pitcher. But he had a run, man. I tell you what, Zach Greinke, I looked this up, had 6 Gold Gloves in a row to field his position. Greg Maddux, of course, was someone who was known for fielding his position well. So to have 6 Gold Gloves in a row from 2014 to 2019, Zach Greinke has a nice chance to get into the Hall of Fame. We'll see if he gets in. Verlander had a dominant stretch. He won the Cy Young and the MVP in 2011. So very impressive numbers by him. And he kind of has had 2 primes, if you really think about it. Verlander with the Tigers and then Verlander with the Houston Astros once he came over. Because he kind of had a resurgence in 2019 and won a Cy Young that year as well. So for as long of a stretch of a career as Verlander's had, he definitely has been considered the best pitcher in baseball a couple of times in his career. So I think Verlander gets in as well. But let's talk about those 3 guys off the top that I named. One of them being Yadier Molina, arguably the best defensive catcher of all time. Let me break down some numbers for you on Yadier Molina. So he has 10 All-Star appearances, 9-time Gold Glove winner behind the plate. This one's a crazy stat. He's a career 40% runners caught stealing percentage. That's the best among active catchers. So Yadier Molina, I don't know if you've been paying attention or not. Catchers don't get a lot of hype, but 40% runners caught stealing is really impressive. He's caught 2,081 games behind the plate, 4th most in baseball history, but it's the most for one player on one single team his entire career, which is really impressive. Offensively, of course, he doesn't have huge numbers, but he did eclipse 2,000 hits this year, which is a big deal for catchers, and he's going to get 1,000 RBIs probably next year. So I think he definitely gets in. He is going to have a stretch where he was the best catcher, at least defensively in baseball. And also one stat that's underappreciated. He, as a catcher, I guess, catching ERA for his staff, he has a 3.68 career ERA for staffs that he catches. So to break that down, when he catches, his staff has a better earned run average than the average catcher does. He's almost a half a run better than most catchers. So that is an underrated stat. He knows how to call a game. He knows how to frame pitches better to get those, some of those balls turned into strikes. Super impressive by Yadier Molina. So I think to be with one team your whole career, 10 All-Stars, 9 Gold Gloves, and a caught stealing rate at that number. And of course, there's all the new age BS stats that I don't want to get into, but just that alone should get Yadier Molina in, and he deserves to go in. One of 3 Molina brothers to catch in the big leagues. So Yadier Molina deserves to get in. Now, here's a guy that is on the fence. He's got the new age stats like on base percentage and WAR and all that stuff, which is Joey Votto. He's kind of been hiding in Cincinnati a little bit for his whole career. He did just get 2,000 hits a couple weeks ago, which is a big deal. He also has 1,000 RBIs and 300 homers. The problem is there's only 5 other first basemen in the Hall of Fame. Usually the offensive numbers aren't there or they're PED related. So like a Mark McGwire, guys like that. But Fred Mcgriff, AKA the crime dog, one of the best nicknames in all of baseball, didn't get in the Hall of Fame, and he's got 493 home runs compared to Votto's 300. So it's not all about home runs. Votto doesn't have the defensive numbers that other guys do. He does have the on-base percentage number, so 7 times leading the league in on-base percentage. I think that only 7 other guys, including, or I guess 6 other guys, including him, have ever done that 7 times. So to lead the league in on-base percentage, he's a clutch hitter, great numbers over his career, but I don't know if 2,000 hits is enough. And a lot of times with any Hall of Fame, whether it's NFL, NBA, whatever sport, if you have to think about it, he's probably not going to get in. He is 38 years old, not a lot of time left to capture some of those big time numbers. I don't think Votto gets in. He does have 1 MVP. It's, as people say, it's not the Hall of Very Good. So I don't know if he has enough to get in the Hall of Fame. But I did want to talk about Miguel Cabrera for a minute. So talk about impressive stats. And I just wanted to read you guys some numbers about Miguel Cabrera that are absolutely ridiculous. He's gotten 11-time All-Star appearances, 2 MVPs, 7 Silver Sluggers, say that 10 times fast, 4 batting titles, a triple crown, which means you led the league in batting average, home runs, and RBIs. Extremely impressive, really hard to do. There hasn't been one in a long time before that. So Miggy has that. And just for reference, he also won back-to-back MVPs, beating Mike Trout both years for those MVPs. And that was like prime Mike Trout, even though he could be still in his prime, obviously, but he's been hurt. So that was like ultra prime Mike Trout. So Miguel Cabrera has that. Cabrera is also 5th all-time in doubles. Albert Pujols is number 1, but he's got all the numbers, and eclipsing 3,000 hits next year will definitely cement that. I think he's a lock already, but Miguel Cabrera will definitely be in the Hall of Fame. So anyway, just wanted to run through some names with you guys, and maybe see what you thought. If you disagree or agree with anything, love to hear your comments on that. I got a lot of new videos coming out on Instagram. You can follow me there at Too Tall Sports Podcast. I like to do some interactive content. I got a series going right now, some of the worst and best stadiums I've ever played in. So you can check those out. Having a lot of fun with those and the surrounding cities, because, minor leaguers don't always play in the best cities. So wanted to go over that stuff. Also wanted to mention, I do have I guess you could call it a radio show coming out. So every Tuesday night, I'm going to be on this audio-based app called Colorcast. One word, Colorcast. And I'm going to have a 30-minute show. You can look it up. It's going to be Too Tall Sports. We're just going to talk about stuff like this. My 2 cents segment. We're going to have interactive conversations, going to bring people on to ask questions. It's kind of like that app Clubhouse, or there's some other ones. So it's, a talking app or Spotify Green Room, I believe. So it's kind of a back and forth. I'm going to host the show for 30 minutes. Brand new to this. I think it'll be fun, a little more loose, and get some fun opinions out there. But it's going to be Tuesday nights, 7:30 p.m. Pacific on Colorcast. So I'll get you some more details on that, but be on the lookout. It'll probably start next week. So I'm still working on a few final details with them, but I'm one of the creators they asked to be on their platform. So we're going to try it out and see. Maybe that'll jumpstart my broadcasting or radio career if I choose to go that route. But anyway, so Colorcast, 7:30 p.m. Pacific, starting on Tuesday nights next week. And I'll get you some more information when I can, but it should be fun. Let me know if you guys are interested in something like that, and I'd love to have you guys on and go back and forth for a little bit. So I will talk to you soon on that, and enjoy the interview.